You are listening to an entertainment program put together by a company called Financial Ineptitude. Anything said on this show is not an endorsement or professional advice. Would you really want to tell a court of law you were suing us because you thought taking financial advice from two idiots on a podcast put out by Financial Ineptitude was a good idea? Really? Clown hat smiley face.
Well, hello and welcome, everyone. Welcome to the China Shop. We're back at you with another exciting interview episode. I'm Shopkeeper Dan. With me as always, is Kyle, creator of financialineptitude.com. How are you doing today, Kyle?
I'm doing good. Excited about today's guest. We had this one circled on the calendar for about a month and a half.
Yes, very exciting. Why don't you introduce our guest today?
Oh, you don't want to do it?
I did the last one, so you got to do this.
Today's guest is Cody Willard, former Fox anchor, hedge fund manager, and the creator of the SKTLS space crypto.
Yes.
How are you doing today, Cody?
I'm excited to be here with you guys. Even just the banter right before we got on air was making me laugh. So.
Yeah, you don't currently work for Fox, do you? I want to make sure I got that intro right.
I do not. Look, I was Larry Kudlow's sidekick, and Larry was longtime CNBC guy, and before that he was Reagan's chief economist, and then he was also Trump's chief economist or whatever, head of the economic roundtable or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I have always been very vocally anti-Republican, anti-Democrat. On the other side of the ledger, one of my very best friends is Bob Weir from the Grateful Dead. So between Larry Kudlow and Bob Weir, I run the gamut on the old spectrum.
Oh God, you ever get them all together for like a barbecue?
I've actually tried to do Bob Weir actually comes on I do a monthly political Zoom call with a bunch of my friends, and Bob Weir is one of the guys who shows up for that, but Larry Kudlow has never showed up for one of mine.
Afraid he's going to be outnumbered?
Yeah, I think, frankly.
I've been in that situation. That's no fun.
I spent 528 episodes on Fox being outnumbered. I mean, it was,
I can imagine.
Because I literally was anti-Republican and anti-Democrat. I'm very clear about both being corrupted and, horrible. And
yeah, I get behind that.
Here's, in a nutshell, I know we're not here to talk politics, but it'll segue us to the crypto anyway. But, in a nutshell, the problem with the left is, they say they're for like peace and like opportunity, but it's like endless welfare for giant corporations and banks, and they bomb children in the Middle East, whether it's Obama or Biden. And then the problem with the right, of course, is they're like, hey, we're for like liberty and freedom, but here's billions of dollars of welfare for farmers and ranchers and some more for some bankers, and we should cut taxes and create a bunch of loopholes, and also we should bomb children in the Middle East.
Right.
Don't forget about taking away net neutrality.
Oh, yeah.
Well, which one does? Which one did? You can't keep this stuff straight because back in the 90s, the Republic. Here's another one. Let's get off of this topic real quick. But look, in 1969, if you were like anti-government, you were like a liberal. And now in 2022, if you're anti-government, you're supposedly a conservative. And I say, look, the party stuff is stupid. I don't even that's the whole point. Look, let's be freedom loving, but let's not pretend that Republicans and Democrats are either for freedom.
Yeah.
I just want both sides to be able to sit down and discuss an issue without screaming at each other. Is that too much to ask for?
It is. I mean, frankly, that's the whole problem, right? I mean, I've been in they'll find a topic that they can find that they'll make you scream about. If you can't, if we all agree that bombing children in the Middle East is bad, then hey, we'll get to abortion and we can fight about that.
Yeah. Right.
Oh,
how young is too young to kill? No.
So how does this segue into crypto?
So the single biggest, I'm glad you asked.
I was waiting too.
I think the single biggest impact that crypto is going to end up having isn't just in currency. I do think Bitcoin and the ability to sort of destroy the fiat currency regimes around the world is also powerful. But the decentralized autonomous organizations create a different way of organizing human beings and creating incentives that can create new ways of doing things. So we don't have to have the liberals and the lefts be like, hey, we need some like tax credit for giant corporations who do stuff in space. And we don't need the right being like, hey, we should give like a SpaceX $1 trillion to get us to Mars or something. I mean, either way, this is something you can create incentives. For example, cleaning up space debris with a profit incentive, but it's actually, sort of a motive of doing social good.
How does SKTL do that? Like, what is the actual mechanism that makes this work? I think I understand some of the basics, but I'll let you.
Yeah, look, the 30,000 foot overview. I just made that pun up right now.
Oh, that's good.
That's just been low hanging fruit forever. Low hanging satellite, low Earth orbit joke to make for a very long time, and I haven't made it.
We're honored you chose us to make that joke.
Yes.
I'm always looking for a new pun, and space is very punny.
Yeah.
So, look, the point being that on day one, we've created a cryptocurrency whose mission is to clean up space debris. And it's by the way we try to create the incentive of doing that is early adopters. So if you're a space enthusiast or you're an early, you love crypto, you need to go to SKTLS.com and register for our free airdrop. We don't even collect your name, your number, or anything. You have to be a U.S. or Canadian citizen to make sure we don't get in sanctions troubles and stuff. But if you go there, SKTLS.com, you can register for the free airdrop. 100 million tokens will be airdropped to whoever registers on SKTLS.com on that first day up to the first 100,000 people. You still have time, I think. It depends on when you actually hear this, but we've had a few thousand people register. Look, the next thing is 100 million tokens are airdropped into a fund, and 10% of that fund every year will donate. That fund will donate 10% of its tokens every year to a company or a country or a teenager or a university who has a plan to clean up space debris. And every time there's another launch to outer space, whether it's a satellite or a human being, we quote unquote mine or print more tokens. And those new tokens half get distributed to early holders in the form of interest, and half get distributed to that space fund that then, again, the next year will go out and spend 10% of its tokens to fund cleaning up space debris. And when there are a total of 300 million tokens printed, we're done. That'll be the total current circulation when it's all over. So
where does the value come from for the actual token itself? That's one thing I've always struggled with crypto.
Sure. Look, other than helium, which sort of has an inherent, or say ether, I guess too, they have inherent value because they're providing some services, right?
Yeah.
Which is what we tried to crack with this thing. So the value would be, number one, we have artists already on SKTLS.com who are receiving payment or waiting to receive payment in SKTL tokens as soon as they hit. You can actually purchase their art now with an IOU for the SKTLS when it does drop. The inherent value in this thing is truly, currency driven. You've got to have the profit motive of people who believe they can get in early and continue to get more tokens by being there early. But the real vision is that in, say, 10 years, when I am on Mars, I'm an investor in Spacex through my hedge fund, and I very much plan to go to Mars when we get there. And I plan to pay for a Mars bar in SKTLs. We want to be the de facto. We want to pay for the we want to be the de facto currency on Mars. And Elon and everyone else has said there will be a cryptocurrency that will dominate the currencies on Mars and on these other societies off of Earth, and it might as well be a virtuous one. Like I said, there are no founders token. I don't know if I said this. There are no founders tokens. I don't make any money off the airdrop. I haven't even registered for the airdrop. I have a hedge fund that I run day to day. That's a very lucrative job, and I'm not risking it to do a crypto. I just wanted to learn how to make a crypto, wanted to do some good once I started making it, and I figured space debris is a very good, easy thing that is exciting for people to, especially crypto technology enthusiasts, to get excited about.
Also, if Elon is wanting to, if he's the one who gets to pick the token that's used on Mars, I think you have a leg up if you're the one trying to actually clean up all the shit in space.
Yeah.
And Elon's even talked about that as anybody who's aware of space. Let's shift to space for a moment, away from crypto, if I could. Look, this my job is to find what I call revolution investments, and so I've owned Apple literally since 20 cents in 2003, split adjusted 20 cents. It was $14 at the time when I bought it. But at Google from the day it came public, Facebook, Bitcoin, I got into at 100. So, my job is to find these revolutions. And I think the clearest, most obvious next place for revolution, for $1 trillion economy to be built is in space. The costs of sending things to space continue to drop. The technologies and the things we can do in space continue to advance. That's the dream scenario for a revolutionary investor. Over the next 5, 10, maybe let's call it 10 to 20 years, I think space is easily the fastest and most obvious growth in our economy.
There's still a lot of hurdles that we have to get past, aren't there? Yeah, it may be the cost coming down, but until we get like a space elevator, like transporting materials to and from off-world may never be cost effective.
I don't know. You've got even companies here in New Mexico. There's a company called Sling.
Oh, is that the centrifuge?
Yeah, right. So
okay, that's pretty cool.
You've got other. That's the thing I talk about with space is that we have companies that are creating new ways of getting to space that are dropping the costs to de minimis compared to certainly what they were just even 10 or 20 years ago. And as those costs continue to drop, and as the technologies and the things we do up there continue to advance, I don't know what all the different ways we're going to get to space, much less all the different applications and services and ways of feeding children that are going to be developed by getting to space. But I fully expect that, yes, farming yields will go through the roof when you can track the soil moisture levels of every acre of your ranch or your farm.
Yeah,
that type of stuff is going to be real. It's going to make an impact, and it's going to feed children.
That's an excellent point. So how did you get so interested in this then? This sounds like more than just a passing fancy. It sounds like a childhood dream.
It's actually not. It's funny. So I don't know, about 3 years ago, really it was partly getting into SpaceX. I'm going to segue again for a moment. I'll tell you about the time how I got blocked by Elon Musk on Twitter 15 years ago.
Nice.
Oh, no. So, 2008. Tesla's a startup back then, 3 or 4 years old. It had just come public a few months before this incident. I was booked to have Elon Musk come on my show on Fox Business. He was going to be one of our guests that night. And we shut down Central Park, and I had the original Tesla Roadster, that orange one that you've seen pictures of him with.
Is that the one in space now?
No, that's not the one that went to space.
Oh, okay. All right.
But that would actually be an even better segue. But no, somehow, look, so we closed down Central Park. I got to race, 120 miles per hour down Central Park in that original Roadster.
Oh, wow.
It's very exciting. And I had just joined Twitter a few months before. And if I didn't mention, I am really bitter at Republicans and Democrats for bailing out banks. And in 2008, all they were doing was sending trillions of dollars to banks and giant corporations. And I'm like, this is madness. And I tweeted to Elon, @Elon is coming on my show tonight. His company wants another $500 million of welfare from the government. What do you guys think?
Oh, no.
So he blocked me and canceled his segment and sent his chief marketing officer or something to the show. So fast forward 10 years. In 2018, I've just about to launch my hedge fund in 2019, January 1st. This is my second hedge fund. I closed the original one to take the job on Fox years ago. So I was launching this thing, and I was thinking, well, I got to find the next revolution. And I went and, I'd been following Tesla forever, and the Model 3 had finally hit. And I thought, the Model 3 at $40,000 or $35,000 is what they were promising it cost. $45,000, $50,000. If they've got a car that's actually amazing and is going to do self-driving eventually, I gotta check this out. So I went and bought a Model 3, and the day I got it, I immediately realized that Tesla had cracked the code, and it was by far the best $40,000 car you'll ever buy in your life. So I went and made Tesla the biggest position in my hedge fund, and I'm now waiting for my Model S because Tesla's paid for a ranch It's paid for a Model S upgrade. It's, the stock's gone from $50 to $1,000.
Yeah.
And along the way, I started digging into SpaceX. And because, I was wanting to see what Elon was doing there. And so, look, and I can, blocked or not, Elon's a genius, man. Like, this is one other note. Like, why the hell is that guy, he's out there, he's like telling Bernie Sanders, I forgot you were alive. Well, in 2008, when you were begging the government for $500 million of welfare so your company could survive, Mr. Elon Musk, you certainly knew who the socialist in charge over there was. So, yes, I mean, come on. Oh, God, it's such hypocrisy. But nonetheless, I went and dug into SpaceX. I was like, oh, my God, SpaceX is amazing. Let's figure out space because this is about to happen. And so I've spent the last 2 or 3 years digging into space. Up until that, other than loving Star Trek and Star Wars, no, I wasn't much of a space guy.
Do you think that SpaceX will ever be publicly traded, or is that something that Musk just doesn't want to have to deal with shareholder pressure?
You have that 100% correct. After going through all of the nightmare he went through with, short sellers and everything else and the SEC, he will never, ever take SpaceX public. But I fully expect a year from now that Starlink will be doing an IPO. And by the way, I just got my email from Starlink today saying that they shipped my unit.
Oh, I
will soon be a Starlink customer in addition to a Starlink investor.
Perks of the job, huh?
No, not really. Just was sort of like with the Cybertruck. I have 2 Cybertrucks on order that I ordered the day that they came online. That's the minute he finished his presentation with the Cybertruck and the website popped up, I ordered 2 of them.
Oh, man, lucky.
Look, I'll figure this. This is going to be one of the easiest investments I ever made. You can take the original Cybertruck and do 2 things with it. You can sell it the day you get it for probably a 20 to 50% markup, or you can wrap it in plastic, put it in a hangar or a garage, leave it for 30 years and pull it out and sell it then.
Why do you think Tesla is so far ahead of everybody else? I mean, there's other companies that are trying to close the gap. Like, why are they struggling so hard to do so?
Who would you say? Rivian, Ford?
Rivian, NIO, Ford, GM.
Lucid.
Isn't Nissan even trying now, too?
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're a car company, you're trying to catch Tesla.
Yeah.
The 10 years head start is no joke, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it took 10 years before they thought it was even a threat. And in 2018, 2019, when the Model 3 took off, everybody sort of realized, oh, crap, this thing's real. We need to catch up. These cars are better than ours. We're selling flip phones and he's got an iPhone. And that's still sort of the scenario. I mean, it's, you can go order yourself a Rivian and good luck getting it in the next, it'll be interesting whether you could, if you ordered a Rivian right now or a Cybertruck right now, it would be interesting to see which one you got first. I would bet the Cybertruck is delivered first.
I'd be more interested in seeing who paid the original price first. Right? Wasn't Rivian the one that tried to increase the price for the pre-orders?
Yeah.
I've got 2 Cybertrucks locked in at a price that I doubt they're going to let me get, right? I mean, by the time that truck gets delivered, it'll be 20 or 30% more expensive than what I paid, than what they told me I was going to pay.
Mm-hmm. Man, if you guys, I think you guys should reach out to Kerbal Space Program, the creators of that game. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
It's like a simulation game where like you start off on this planet called Kerbal and these little green aliens, and you like build rockets to try to explore different bodies in the solar system. But with using tokens as currency, like in games, like NFTs for like, special skins and like that kind of stuff, seems like that'd be the perfect group to partner with.
Yeah, we've actually had another space game startup reach out to us and try to partner with us on using our SKTLS tokens in their games somehow. Mm-hmm. They're still figuring out what the actual plan is for that. Let's talk crypto for a moment. There's 18,000 cryptos out there, 17,892 of which are fraudulent, silly, or stupid. Mm-hmm. I have been in Bitcoin for 9 years, since $100, and I believe in Bitcoin. I believe in Ether. I've been in it for probably 4 or 5 years. But this is silly and stupid. About half of about 90% of the things you see out there now are silly or stupid, and you got to avoid them. It's one of the reasons I like the SKTLS space crypto airdrop so much. Literally, you can't lose money if you're just putting your name in for a free airdrop. And we're giving away every single token. And they might be worth 50 cents. They might be worth $5,000. But you could literally get something worth thousands of dollars airdropped into your wallet just by registering, whereas everyone else wants you to go out and, I don't know, like stakes or sacrifice or trade or turn your dollars into tethers to turn them into ethers to turn them into something else that you could then trade for an NFT and that. Don't do any of that, people. Slow down. Just slow down.
Quite the salesman, huh?
Yeah, right.
What am I selling? I'm selling nothing. I'm selling a registration.
Yeah.
I know. So, okay, let's go back to the fraudulent coins. Like, what makes Bitcoin and Ether so much better than, like, say, Pancake Swap or Sushi Coin or Hamster?
Oh, and frankly, I don't even have a problem with some of the ones you just mentioned. It's Pancake Swap, Sushi Swap. You know, I mean,
those are just names that I can't off the top of my head.
Okay, well, those are technically exchanges where peers can trade to other peers. People can trade to other people. And I fully expect that SKTLS crypto will be traded on Pancake Swap and on Sushi Swap. And people might have to buy a token to do that on there. That's, that's beyond my control. We airdrop it and people can do whatever they want with the tokens they get when they get them. But a lot of these tokens are, you've seen these rug pulls, surely, where there was like even an Elon twin token or something, right, a month ago. And I'm not making this up, and it went up, someone put in $1 million or $2 million into that. Not someone, people, real individuals put in $1 million or $2 million into that token. And then one day the guys who created it just sold everything, took their money and left. Mm-hmm. And that's what, a lot of this stuff out there is, has no economic value, has no, motive to be economic value. Any of these things that are like, we punish people for selling the token. We incentivize people to hold it forever. Oh, that stuff's bullshit. I mean, that stuff, that stuff's fake. It's fraud. You're going to lose all your money if that's what your bulk, if the value of your token rests on punishing people for selling it, it is not going to work out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an excellent point.
I hadn't phrased it like that before, but damn, that is a good way of phrasing it. Literally, that's in a nutshell. If the value proposition of your token is that you punish people for selling it, it's not going to work out. Yeah, it's a fraud. Yeah, it's going to be zero.
There's the teaser.
Right.
Write down that timestamp, Dan.
Yeah.
I'm going to need that clip. All right. So when is the drop?
It is Space Day, first Friday of May, and I think that's May 6th this year, but frankly, I'm going to pull it up while I'm saying it out loud. First Friday is May 6th. Yes. So you have until May 6th to get registered over on SKTLS.com unless 100,000 people have already gotten there. But I don't think we're going to hit 100,000, frankly, which is bonkers to me. Mm-hmm. How is it that we're literally giving away something that could be worth thousands of dollars, or even in years, it could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you don't even have to put it in a dollar or an ether or a Bitcoin or a Satoshi or anything, and we can't get people to go register?
I bet you'd get more if you did charge. I wonder, because I don't know, something about something being too easy that people just don't do it.
And that's where actually we have a theory at SKTLS that after the airdrop, that's when it goes from thousands of people to tens of thousands of people being involved with it, because then there is value to it, that there is something, it is being traded for a certain amount of dollars and /ethers /bitcoins.
So what actually went into creating this? Like, did you do most of this yourself, or did you have to go get a team together?
I have thousands of people who read my stuff and follow my trade. Mm-hmm. If you guys are interested in my actual stock and crypto stuff, not just the SKTLS thing, you can go to tradingwithcody.com. I charge $1,200 or $1,300 a year to read my stuff, but I write about all of my analysis and every trade I'm making and when I'm making it, and tell you what I'm up to. I had this idea. What happened was I bought Bitcoin in 2013 and all these others along, 5 or 6 others along the way. And then in 2018, it just went crazy. 2019, they went even nuttier. And then, last year I started seeing like Hex worth $60 billion, which I think is eventually going to be worth zero. And a bunch of these wild, either fraudulent, silly, or stupid cryptos
you can say shit coins. I know you want
to. These shit coins, like thousands of them. And I thought, I've got to figure out, A, what is going on, and B, how is this happening? So I sent a note out. I just wrote about it, and I told everybody, hey, I'm going to start a space crypto. I don't even know what that means yet, but I need volunteers. If you're interested in learning how to do it, join in. I had about 20 people sign up to volunteer. None of us got paid. Lots of people put in money and time. Everybody put in time, but lots of people, including myself, put in, I probably am $50,000 building this thing, learning how to do it. When I originally started it, I didn't know that I wouldn't be able to do founder tokens. But once, I talked to my attorneys and everything, and they're like, look, if you don't want to be a security, if you want to make sure the SEC never comes knocking on your door, you can't get anything for creating this thing. You have to give it all away. It has to be not just a virtuous idea. Literally, by every single dime that it's ever generated from this thing has to go to cleaning up space debris or people that you airdropped it to. And okay, at this point, I was, I already had 20 people weeks into the process, and nobody was thrilled about not being paid. But we also had known when we signed up for it that we were going to do something virtuous, and, it was a volunteer thing. So at any rate, we've had, I've got the guy who actually did all of the coding is a big programmer guy over at a large social, the largest social network company in the world. And we had the COO of one of the largest investment banks in the world volunteer to help us figure out some of the incentives around it all. And a like a guy who just retired from IBM as one of their chief scientists was one of the guys who volunteered. All these people were reading my stuff and volunteered. And so we had a team of about 20 people. And then Joe Volpe or Piper or Damien or one of my other volunteers probably got me on this podcast with you guys, because that's how we reached out to you.
I think it was Joe. Yep.
We had two of the people who volunteered their time, whose jobs right now are to reach out to every crypto podcast on the planet and get me or someone else on there talking about the free airdrop.
Well, I'm glad they did.
Yeah, me too.
Well, me too. Thanks, guys. Appreciate your time.
Somebody else that actually Eric Mason. That is who recommended us.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Very cool dude. I've just gotten to know Eric. He is now a volunteer on our project here. He's put his time and energy into this thing.
Really, I didn't notice that. Huh. I'll look through the founder list to see if I can find him on there.
He's not on there. He literally, I bet he's 3 weeks into helping.
Oh.
4 weeks into it. He's not on the website yet.
Well, if you need someone to go up, over the Kármán line, start picking up satellite debris, I'm your guy.
Yeah, you'll volunteer for that space trip, huh?
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah. I'm sure I can talk the wife into letting me go.
Right.
I have a medically fragile daughter. I have two daughters, one of whom is medically fragile. She's about 7 years old, doesn't walk or talk, breathes with, has a trach and breathes on oxygen. We dream that eventually one day we get her up to Mars or the moon, where obviously the lesser gravity
is
not nearly as big a deal. It'll be a lot easier to have her walk around as best she can.
That would be amazing.
I believe it. It's not 10 or 20 years, but maybe in 25, 30 years, it would be amazing. I'll be 75 years old taking my 33-year-old daughter out there to get out of so she can just walk without assistance.
If you had the chance to be the first flight over to Mars, would you take it?
If I didn't have what I just described, absolutely.
The family, right.
Yeah.
Right. Like another time and place in my life, absolutely. That would have been something I would think would be. I do think that if you could go, going to Mars in that first ship or two, it's going to be like your family came over on the Mayflower, and for generations, if your great grandparents came over on the Mayflower, your kids are messed up because you got so much money. Like that's the kind of wealth we're talking about. That
right,
like owning SpaceX today means my great grandchildren are probably going to be really screwed up.
Hopefully they send you a thank you.
No, you just described several people I've met that can trace their lineage back to the Mayflower.
Yeah,
every one of them. It's
totally
amazing.
nailed it, right?
It's fucking nailed it. Yeah,
man. Like you gotta be blue collar, hard work. My dad's a veterinarian. My mom's a school teacher. That's where you gotta come from. We can be normal, and I'm still messed up too, but I'm normal-ish.
Right.
Ish. No,
messed up from the same place everybody else gets messed up.
Yeah, right. I'm a normal messed up, not a crazy messed up.
Normal life.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had my dreams and hopes ruined one day at a time as I drifted on along this straight line to the coffin, just like everybody else.
Just like everybody
I
else.
thought you were going to say on the straight line to the podcast and then to the coffin.
No, this is one of my few joys in the world.
I actually put together a basket of it's a basket of big cap stocks that have crashed.
Oh.
And what I'm calling it is a casket of big cap crashes.
Oh, I love
and
it.
Nobody got my pun. Everybody's like, dude, you misspelled basket. I'm like, no, it's a casket, man. These things are in the grave. They might come back to life.
Wow.
Can we pivot to the hedge fund a little bit?
Sure.
I kind of want to know what goes into running a hedge fund. Well, first of all, how did you start one? I want to go there first.
How and why?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, backing up a little, I'll be quick, but in 2001, Jim Cramer put out an article, and at the bottom of the article, like he always did, he had a million articles he's written. At the bottom of this one, it said, if you're an out-of-work Wall Street analyst, send us an email because we need writers at thestreet.com.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote him a web email and said, look, I'm not an out-of-work analyst, but I have a website called teleconomics.com, and I'd love to get involved with the street. And he started publishing me, and then after I showed up every day for years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for a year and a half probably. And the editor-in-chief knew I wanted to launch a hedge fund, told Jim Cramer I wanted to launch a hedge fund. Cramer sent me an email and said, hey, come to my office and let's talk about it. And I went in and he sat me down and said, look, you need this is in 2002.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, you need $250,000 in the bank so that you have enough money to fund your hedge fund and get it started and put a little money in yourself. And I had $22,000 in the bank, but I nodded and said, yeah, no problem. What else? And he was, basically explained to me, I needed to go find a prime broker. I needed to go find an accountant, auditors. Got to pay for that and/or find someone who will pay for it, and then you have to pay them back. And eventually, I spent a year building the contacts and getting the hedge fund ready to go. And my largest investor at the time, I thought, was going to be the CEO of a giant telecom company I had briefly worked for, who 2 weeks before I launched declared bankruptcy and moved to Florida.
Did he work for MCI?
No, it was he sold a company to Comdisco for $1 billion. It was a DSL company before DSL was ready to go. Anyway, I can't even remember what the name of the company he sold is now. It was one word. Anyway, he sold it for a couple billion, made his money, and then went bankrupt. And I didn't get the 15 or 20 million I thought he was going to put into my hedge fund. Next largest investor I had lined up was my best friend from childhood, Neil Patrick Harris, who put in $250,000, which was awesome. But it was also not $15 million, which I needed to sort of be my anchor hedge fund. So I started really small, and it was not economic, and it was horrible. And I spent 5 years building it up, and building assets and making returns. And eventually got an offer to go on Fox, and I took that and closed the hedge fund. And then I started this one 3 years ago. And it was a lot, I wouldn't say easier. It was certainly a lot easier, but it was certainly not easy starting the second time.
Is that just because of the knowledge you had or because of the contacts you'd already built?
And the track record and reputation I had, frankly, rather than trying to find one big investor and some small ones, I put my own money and lots of my friends and family's money. I guess not family, but people who know me and who followed me for many, many years ended up investing in this hedge fund. And, it was, I don't have any institutional money. Most guys go out and spend a year or two giving up equity in their hedge fund, trying to get big money into their hedge fund. And I just raised it all from retail investors, no institutional money.
Nice.
Wow.
And if I could finish, the whole point of the hedge fund is the only reason I started the second time around. I had basically retired when I left TV the first time here. And the only reason I started the second hedge fund was because I have a daughter who is medically fragile, and I need her to have a whole lot. She needs to have the kind of money that will mess up my grandchildren,
right?
So that I know that she will forever have great care. And what I realized, even when I launched, what the number that I launched with was still, not $1 billion or even $100 million, but it was plenty for me if I do good returns for the next 20, 30 years. My hedge fund's called 10,000 days. If I do good returns for the next 10,000 days, she will have the life she needs to have forever.
Sorry, I have to go back for just a moment here. You just kind of glazed over the fact that your best friend from childhood was Neil Patrick Harris.
Neil Patrick Harris. Yeah. Wow.
I know you tried to sneak that one in there, but before Doogie Howser?
Before, yeah. I mean, literally, he's like my first childhood friend was Neil Patrick Harris. My mom and his mom were pretty good friends, and my dad and his dad were pretty good friends. And my brother was his brother's age, 2 years older than us both. And Neil and I are the same grade. And he's frankly brilliant and always has been, and was complicated.
Did you get to go to any movie premieres with him?
No, when he got discovered in 8th grade.
Yeah.
And we went out and did a movie with Whoopi Goldberg, and then got to the Doogie Howser show, and, true stardom started with that.
Yeah.
And look, I mean, Neil struggled with his youth and, growing into who he became. And I loved Neil always. Like, he's always been a close, great friend of mine. And when he got discovered and went away and became a huge star, most of the people in his hometown got bitter, and I didn't. I stayed in touch. I loved him.
Why would they?
I don't know.
People just hate success, kind of thing.
I guess so.
Oh, he's too good for us now. He moved on.
Oh,
so I was on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno 15 years ago. And Jay says to me, "You must be the biggest star ever from your tiny hometown in New Mexico." And I assume he had done his homework, and that's why he asked the question. Because I was like, dude, I'm like a nobody. Like, I mean, it's not even funny. Like, you got one of the most famous people in the world from my hometown. So,
yeah. So when did you know that he was gay? At what age was it like really obvious to everybody but him?
I did not.
I'm kidding.
I was probably naive, but like I played basketball at the University of New Mexico, and my girlfriend for a while was a volleyball player. And I hung out with him. For a while, Neil actually moved back to Albuquerque when I was in college at the University of New Mexico. So we would hang out, and all the volleyball team wanted to date him.
Right.
And
of course.
And I was like, "Hey man, like I got 12 beautiful girls that want to come over tonight and hang out with you."
They're lining up, bro. They are lining up.
Yeah. And he was like, "Nah, I'm busy." But I will say, like, I didn't think anything of it. I was like, he probably got better options or something.
Yeah. Why do I assume he was in medical school?
No, that's the Junior Howard thing. Okay.
I figure you might as well become a doctor if you're going to.
I mean, right.
Wait, let me finish the story. I got to answer your question, and I'll tell you something about the doctor thing. When I had moved to New York, probably 1996, we were hanging out. He had moved to New York at that point too, or was about to, and we went to dinner one night, and he was like, "Hey, I don't know if you know this, but I'm gay." And I was like, "Oh, shit, I didn't, but okay, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
makes sense."
Yeah. The other thing you said
About being a doctor.
Oh, I'll tell you. So I played basketball at UNM, and like a bunch of my teammates found out I was hanging out with Neil. And I'm not joking. Several of them were like, "Yo, is he really as smart as he is on like TV? Is he like can he really do all that?"
Is he really a genius boy doctor?
No, he's acting, guys. He's acting.
Yes, he's a great actor.
He is a great actor. I truly think he's going to get an Oscar one day.
I would think so. I love the stuff that he's been doing lately.
He doesn't think he's on the right, quote unquote, career path, right? Like, and I get what he's saying, right? You got to sort of have a different career path. But I just figure there's going to be this like one role in the next 10 years that is like everybody goes, I cannot believe that was Neil Patrick Harris. And he does something that, I don't know, he's so talented.
Well, it's not very often somebody comes out from the other side of the childhood actor thing.
A decent human being.
And being somewhat, well-adjusted and actually, still doing good work.
That's right. You're absolutely right. And don't get me wrong. Like, even my own struggles being a almost famous wannabe anchor on financial news, like, is there even like groupies for financial news stuff? Like, right? Like, I never had anything.
You want to join our Discord? No,
and I
really.
still, it'll mess you up, man. Mm-hmm. Like, TV messes people up, and Neil's, he's amazing for being as normal as he is.
Yeah, I love his beautiful family photos he tweets.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, they're great.
I could talk about Neil Patrick Harris and movies and TV forever, but I feel like maybe we should talk about some more
back to financial
stuff. Yeah. What's your actual style when it comes to investing then? When you're picking these diamonds in the rough, like, are you more of like a fundamental analysis type guy, or are you technical analysis? Do you use a blend of the two?
The only charting I do is when everyone says, this is the worst chart I've ever seen. Then I'm like, oh, let me go look at that. I go see that. That sounds exciting. And so, what my favorite thing to do is to find like a Tesla or Apple or Facebook or Google or, some of the ones NVIDIA, I got at $7 a share back several years ago. And what I do is, like with NVIDIA, let's use that one as a good example.
Yeah, that's a great example.
So at the time I wrote for, tradingwithcody.com and on marketwatch.com, both actually, that there were several revolutions that I wanted to get in front of. Mm-hmm. Autonomous driving, artificial intelligence, gaming, virtual reality. Well, guess who who was like literally skating there already?
Right.
NVIDIA was going to all of those segments. At the time, they were truly just sort of a gaming chip company, graphics chip company, but all the graphics chips were going to be used for so much of this, and they were going to take their platform and sort of migrate towards these things. And so I look at that and I go, look, we've got a potential. What I'm trying to find are $1 trillion marketplaces. Mm-hmm. And so there's several $1 trillion marketplaces. You get self-driving or you get artificial intelligence working. Those are $1 trillion marketplaces. So what are the best plays for that? So then I go and I'm like trying to find companies that are great plays in that. And like stumble across NVIDIA, and guess what? It's like 4 or 5 of the different industries that I think are about to become multi-trillion-dollar industries. Well, it's one of the leaders in that. Well, let's go look at the numbers. And so then I look at the balance sheet. I look at the growth projections. I look at the gross margins. And like, as I'm sitting here in front of you, I mentioned earlier, I have a casket of big cap crashes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I've got 35 stocks I've analyzed. I came in yesterday morning and spent a few hours at the office and then did more this morning. And I've run through Twilio, Verizon, Intel, Roku, JD, Qualcomm, Facebook, PayPal, Google, Uber, Spotify, Shopify, Teladoc, Apple, SolarEdge, Zoom, Amazon, etc. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at all of these things, and my final thing that I'm looking at here right now is I've got the PE projection that I came up with 3 years out, and I have a PE projection that I came up with for 5 years out. Mm-hmm. And I go through and I'm trying to find anything that A, is either growing so fast that when it's 5 years out, if it's trading at a 20 PE versus that number, it's still going to be cheap because it's going so fast.
Right.
Or B, you find an Intel that's trading at 7 times my number, 6 times my number 5 years out, not including its new chip vending business for other people. It's chip fab business that it's building all these factories of chips. Mm-hmm. That's $1 trillion kicker. So then I'm like, all right, I get Intel at $8 and I got $1 trillion potential kicker, and it's the worst chart I've ever seen. Why?
So what do you do then?
I literally start buying it.
Yeah.
And like with Intel, Intel's the first stock since Tesla in 3 years ago that I've outright pounding the table going, holy shit, I can't believe I get to buy this at this valuation right now. I cannot believe, like, this is incredible. I will, any share you want to sell me of Intel, I will buy it. I have made Intel my largest position.
Really?
And if it'll go down another 20%, I'll make it as big as Tesla was.
You think they've done enough to stop losing market share to AMD?
I think they just rolled out chips last 6 months that are taking major market share from AMD in the desktop and laptop. And I think in 6 months, they've got these Alder Lake chips that are going to come out and take a bunch of share in the server side of things. So, yes, I think AMD's taken serious market share, and then they're about to become the next, they're about to become the free world, the Western world's only chip vendor. Taiwan Semiconductor is the only one Tesla and Apple can get their chips from.
Yep.
Taiwan Semiconductor is in Taiwan.
Yep.
It is next to China.
Yes, it is.
So I do that. And literally, I think Intel is a screaming buy right now. I did a bunch of work like Shopify. I wish it was a better buy, but it's not exciting enough to me. Teladoc is another one. I was like, oh, I bet that one's going to be cheap. And I went and did my work and I was like, it's not quite. It's getting there.
Oh, man, I look at this Intel chart. It's one of the worst charts I've ever seen. I'm just kidding.
I literally wrote again and again about Tesla when I started buying it in 2018, 19, I guess it was, at like $60 split adjusted over and over. It's like, oh my God, this is the worst chart I've ever seen. Everyone hates this chart. Oh my God, thank you. I will buy more.
Well, Intel's a tough one because they fell behind on the chip architecture, right? I can't remember what nanometer they're stuck on, but AMD was working with TSM to come out with their 5 nanometer platform, I believe. While Intel was still trying to get 9, right?
Yeah, like you're exactly right. It doesn't really matter, but they were at 13 and TSM was at 11, and then now Intel's at 9 or 7, and AMD and TSM's at like 3.
Intel's engineering and innovation is like it took AMD getting that big of a lead in architecture before they even became comparable with speeds.
I think what really happened to Intel was they spent 10 years almost becoming GE or IBM.
Right, just resting.
And even just like financial gimmickry, like we're just going to buy back shares and, like make our numbers look good every quarter until that doesn't play out and then we crash, right? Which is what IBM and GE have both done over the years. And I think Intel was going down that pathway until Pat Gelsinger was hired. The new CEO that came on last year is an engineer who created the x87 architecture that AMD uses to this day.
Right.
And, another one of my favorite sayings is always bet on brilliance. And that's why I bought Tesla, even though Elon hates me. I was like, the dude's brilliant. I can see that from out here. Yeah. Same thing with Gelsinger. Like Gelsinger's brilliant.
Yeah, Intel has way too much talent to stay down for too long. Especially if they've got a good leader now.
Picture Intel's, like, who do they have to compete against? Taiwan Semiconductor. Okay, great. Like, Taiwan, they're the best. Fine. Who else does Intel have to compete against? Samsung and some, like, Chinese fab companies? Man, Intel can beat Samsung. Intel can beat those Chinese fab guys. Intel's about to just... with Gelsinger driving, an engineer driving that thing, within 5 years, they're going to be one generation or half a generation behind TSM, if TSM is even still an independent country, an independent company.
But TSM doesn't make their own. They're just contractors for hire.
Yeah, but they're at that. That's what I'm saying, though, that they're still a generation behind the size.
Well, watch how I tie everything all back together.
Oh, I love it. Here we go.
So you like to identify future soon-to-be trillion-dollar markets when looking for the stocks that you want to hold. And I think, based on the conversation we've had, that you've identified space as being one of the next massive markets that's going to be up for grabs.
If that was the spot I was supposed to jump in, let me say that not only is it, but it is the only one I know of that nobody else agrees with me on. Nobody thinks that, like AI, you look artificial intelligence, virtual reality, all that stuff I just mentioned about NVIDIA 4 years ago.
Right.
Everybody's now like, oh, those are going to be $1 trillion economies. Wow. Yes, agreed. But nobody will sit there and be like, dude, in 5 or 10 years, we're talking trillions of dollars of space economy. And people are like, Cody, you're nuts.
Kathy Woods might be on your team, but didn't she start a space innovation fund?
ArcX.
Yeah, but you know what she owns?
What?
She doesn't own a single space stock in that.
Not anymore.
Fund. She owns like Caterpillar.
John Deere.
John Deere, that's what it is. She owns John Deere and ArcX. I mean,
John Deere's not as big a stretch though as you would think, right?
No, well, like I mentioned earlier, like people are going to use space to get better farming yields. Absolutely.
So which diamonds in the rough then are you eyeing for a space play for 10 years down the road?
Space companies.
All right, number one, unfortunately, Spacex is, like in my hedge fund, it is my largest space holding, and it always will be. I bought it in the private market and, dealing with years ago when I launched. Mm-hmm. Number two, Rocket Lab, RKLB.
Rocket Lab, huh?
It is a publicly traded one. It's the only space stock that hasn't crashed 70 or 80%, and that doesn't mean it still can.
Sounds like a Virgin Galactic thing.
Right.
It's the best space company that you can buy on the public markets, but it's probably a little bit overvalued right now because of that. I do own SpaceX. I do own Rocket Lab, and I own it from a higher level. It's right now around like 7 or 8, and I bought it around 12 to 14. I would buy more. I bought more actually in the 7s recently, and I would buy more if it goes to 5. I do think it could go to 5 because the market hates unprofitable ventures right now, and space and Rocket Lab is going to be unprofitable for another year or two. There's a couple others. You can look at Black Sky, BKSY. It is a space stock that came public through a SPAC, not 18 months ago, and is down 85 or 90% from where it was. But, that's one of them. Like, again, it's got the worst chart you've ever seen.
I know, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm looking at it right now.
It's awful. So, look, these are, again, to be very clear, these are speculative. I can't, Rocket Lab's not making money yet, so you got to be careful. But I do think Rocket Lab is the best space stock you can buy.
Well, how many turds did you have to sift through and hold for one NVIDIA?
Exactly, man. I mean, that's a great point. A couple of, like, there are literally dozens of space stocks out there, and I'm short 6 of them. So, and I own 5 of them. So I'm short Maxar. I'm short Telesat. Telesat has gone from 53 to 12 without going up one day, I don't think.
Holy shit.
What's the ticker for Telesat?
TSAT. Well, look at that chart. Let's look at a terrible chart. That one's even so bad, I don't like it.
Well, that looks like a great chart if you're short.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's visiting a planet with high gravity, just pulling it right down.
Yes. Nice space joke there, Dan.
Yeah, well done.
Oh, man. What fun this conversation has been.
So, look, space is the future, but it ain't going to be easy. And nobody believes it yet, and they're right, because it ain't happening yet. But you got to have a vision of 10 years out. In 2 or 3 years, you'll be able to buy 5 or 10 great space stocks. But as of now, you got to just be careful and maybe stick with Rocket Lab and 2 or 3 others.
Right.
Just keep averaging in as they go down.
Seriously, if you're listening to this still, go to SKTLS.com, get yourself some free space crypto. It is the single best investment advice I can give anyone. You can't lose money if it's free.
I thought it would already have 100,000 people when Kyle and I were talking before you joined the call. And when you said it didn't, I went and signed up while we were talking.
Nice.
How do you not?
Good job, Dan.
Because literally, it could be worth $5,000 day one. I doubt it will be. I think it'll be worth $50 on day one. I hope it's worth $50 on day one so I can go buy a bunch.
Hey, if it's 50 cents, it's still 50 cents more than I had today.
I truly believe and hope that there are, out of the thousands of people who did sign up, I hope there are people who are hungry I mean, I wish they weren't hungry, but if there are hungry people in this world who can't buy their children's shoes tonight, I hope they're going to register for the free SKTLS crypto.
Yeah.
Because they literally, whatever it's worth on that first day or that first month, they can get $5 or $50 or $500 and put it in their pocket. And I will go buy some SKTLS space crypto when it starts trading on the open market.
Yeah.
And so people will be selling it to me. Someone's going to be getting my money for their free crypto.
Won't be mine. No, I'd rather wait 20 years and see what it does. If I can use it to buy my ticket to the moon.
Right.
Wouldn't that be incredible? And literally, I've been talking to a bunch of space companies trying to get them, and then clearly they all are interested, but getting them to actually go, yes, we think we should also put our money, or, we think that SKTLS space crypto is something we should be accepting as payment. We're not there yet, but I truly believe in 5 or 10 years, all it takes is a Jeff Bezos retweet,
right? An
Elon Musk tweet, right? Like, holy shit, look at the space debris cleaning crypto.
Tell them you're long Tesla and short Microsoft, and that'll get you a retweet. Guaranteed.
That's right.
All you need to do.
Musk is salty about Microsoft shorting Tesla. Bill Gates shorting Tesla.
Why he should be? Bill Gates being short his number one. What the fuck is Bill Gates doing with his life that he's shorting a stock that's making us green?
Yeah,
like his whole thing is we got to solve diseases and climate. But I'm going to bet against the only company that's actually doing anything for this. And number two, Elon Musk is going to put chips into everybody's brains. He's literally got a company. He said he's going to put chips into everybody's brains. And everybody's like, I'm so scared that Bill Gates is going to put chips in my brain.
Through the vaccines.
Yeah, Bill Gates is going to do it, right?
Bill Gates is not putting chips in your brain.
No, he's not.
But that doesn't mean I like Bill Gates either. I'm mad at Bill Gates. You know what? A year ago, I started losing respect for this Billy guy. I mean, this whole Epstein thing, this whole like cheating on his wife thing. Like, look, people are going to do what they're going to do, and I'm not judging. But like when you put yourself out there as this virtuous CEO, like I truly respected and loved this, like not loved, but I revered him. I'm done with that. Especially when I found out he's shorting Tesla. Fuck that.
Yeah.
That's how you go broke, right, Dan?
That's right.
That is how you go broke. I hope he goes, like literally Tesla, if Tesla goes to like 10,000, Elon, like Bill Gates is wiped out. He'll have to sell his farms. That would be awesome.
It closed down his foundation. It's just going to be the Melinda Gates Foundation.
Yes,
now that they're divorced.
I'm fine with that. Doesn't that actually sound better? I actually love that. The Melinda Gates. She should go back to her maiden name. The Melinda what it used to be.
Melinda what it used to be Foundation. Yeah.
I like that. I'd donate to that.
French. Melinda French. The Melinda and French Foundation.
There you go.
Plus, you get France happy too. We owe them for the Statue of Liberty still.
Oh, come on. We still owe him for that?
That was too far. French? No. She's not from France. Her last name is French.
That was a joke I heard the other day. Do you know where the first French fry was cooked? Because it wasn't in France.
Well, no.
It was in Greece.
Oh.
I love a good dad joke.
Oh, fuck.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, now that everybody has turned off the show, Cody, can you please tell everyone where they can sign up for Skittle again one more time in case they missed it?
If they're listening, if they've been listening to this point, they surely have been to SKTLS.com. SKTLS. It's like sky's the limit with an S on the end. SKTLS.com. Get your free airdrop. Sign up for it. Be careful out there with everything else you're doing. Buy yourself a little intel. I don't know what else to tell you, people.
You can also find them on @SKTLS Crypto. And if you want to check out more from Cody, you can go to tradingwithcody.com. Or you can follow him on Twitter at Cody Willard. We'll have those links all in the episode description to make it easy for everyone to find.
All right. Fantastic.
Oh, Cody, so much fun. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Yes.
It feels like it's Friday. It's Monday.
Right? Yeah, I know.
Right.
That's why I schedule these on Monday, because they're always on. Always so much fun and a good way to start your week.
It's 3:30 in New Mexico. Still early. I got more work to do. I'm going to go analyze some more shitty charts.
Awesome.
All right, Dan, you want to wrap us up?
Oh, this has been an amazingly wonderful time. We hope we can have you back on again sometime in the future, Cody, and everybody out there. I already signed up for my Skytle. You make sure you get a chance to do the same. So thank you again, Cody. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, everyone, for sticking around to the end, but we do have to go. So until next time, happy trades.
Goodbye.
Two Bulls in a China Shop is an entertainment program, and all thoughts and opinions expressed in the show belong to the hosts and not of any company. They are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or on any specific security or investment product. It is only intended to provide entertainment about stocks in the financial industry of trading. If you make trades based on what you hear in this show, you assume all risks for those trades.